That's why I'm so feared. That's why they feared me when I was in the ring, because I was an annihilator. That's all I was born for. And now those days are gone. It's empty. I'm nothing.
Mike Tyson's pain was never just one moment in time. It was a life shaped by struggle, heartbreak, and survival. One chapter led into another, creating a path that started long before he stepped into a boxing ring. This is the story of Iron Mike and where it all began. The rise of someone the world would fear. Mike Tyson was born on June 30th, 1966 at Cumberland Hospital in Fort Greene, Brooklyn. His birth certificate named a Jamaican cab driver Purcell Tyson as his father. But the man he knew while growing up was Jimmy Kirkpatrick, a street hustler from North Carolina, who left the family around the time Mike was born or when he was very young. The exact details changed depending on the source. But one thing stayed the same. Kirkpatrick died in 1992 without ever rebuilding his relationship with his son. Tyson was raised by his mother Lorna alongside his older brother Rodney and his sister Denise, who passed away at just 24 in 1990, while the family moved through small welfare apartments that became harder with every new place.
And at one time it looked nice, and then I realized that we had to move, and then the more we moved, the darker it got. The less white people we saw.
When Tyson was 10 years old, his family moved to Brownsville. Back then, Brownsville was known as one of the toughest neighborhoods in America. Violence was everywhere, with murder rates far above the national average. Drugs were sold openly on the streets, and many buildings stood empty and destroyed. The area still carried the damage left behind from the riots and from the families who had moved away during the 1960s and 70s, leaving behind a neighborhood filled with struggle and hardship.
And Brownsville was just, it was just, whoa, real aggressive and black, you know? Anything's capable.
In that place, every kind of cruelty felt normal, and people suffered in ways no one should. Young Mike Tyson, with his heavy build, his lisp, and high voice, became an easy target. Home was no safer. His mother was often away, and he saw men hurt her. Tyson later said those painful memories became the root of many emotional and personal struggles in his life.
And so I grew up, I didn't feel safe at home. My mother, like I was saying, very promiscuous. My father was a pimp.
At school, Mike was a dropout in everything but name, often missing classes to escape the humiliation waiting for him in the hallways. He later said he never felt his mother was proud of him and that she only saw him as a wild kid running the streets. But those streets became the place where his life first changed. Tyson kept pigeons on the rooftop. He built homes for them, raced them, and raised them. They were the only part of his world that brought him peace, without violence, without fear, and without needing to be tough. Then one day, an older teenager took his favorite bird.
My first fight, I'm a pigeon guy. I always fly birds, pigeons. Yeah. So, my first fight, this guy took one of my pigeons, and so I said, please, give me my bird back.
Tyson was only 9 years old, while the other boy was around 13 or maybe 15.
Give me my bird back. He said, "F you, fat." So he took my birds, he ripped my bird's head off, and he hit me with the bird.
That day, something changed deep inside him. It was more than just sadness.
I fought back. I never fought nobody before. I fought back, and you know what? I can fight real good.
Something much deeper and tougher. That one moment with a dead pigeon, his first punch, and people watching around him became the beginning of the most feared heavyweight in boxing history. Soon kids from the neighborhood started bringing boys from other blocks to fight him for money.
I would fight for money, yeah. Guys would give me some, I would just fight people from different neighborhoods and stuff.
But there was something far darker buried in that same period. Something Tyson kept silent for decades. At 7 years old, walking the alleys of Brooklyn alone, Tyson was taken from the street by an unknown older man, dragged into a building and abused. He escaped by running. He never told anyone. He kept it hidden for 40 music. When he finally spoke about it publicly in 2014, and again in an ESPN interview with Jeremy Schaap, he was both reluctant and direct in equal measure. He said it forced him to be strong for the world he lived in. By age 13, Mike Tyson had been arrested 38 times. Petty theft, fighting truancy. He moved through the Spofford Juvenile Center in the Bronx many times. He saw Muhammad Ali visit the kids there once and watched the staff, the same people who ran the facility, with fear breakdown, crying at Ali's presence there then.
But one day Muhammad Ali comes and visits the kids. The kids that are fucked up in this juvenile detention.
The idea that real power could make even the most frightening people in a room go quiet stayed in Tyson's mind for life. He was later moved to the Tryon School for Boys in Johnstown, New York. There, a boxing coach named Bobby Stewart, who was a former Golden Gloves champion, saw something unstoppable in him. He then took Tyson to meet Cus D'Amato, the legendary trainer of Floyd Patterson and Jose Torres. D'Amato watched Tyson spar for 3 rounds. He told Stewart that if nothing disturbed him outside the ring, that boy would become the heavyweight champion of the world, and maybe even beyond. Tyson cried. He was 12 years old. He had already been arrested 38 times. He had been abused at age 7. His father had left at birth. He was growing up in a violent world. Now an experienced boxing man in the Catskills was looking at him and seeing a future champion. Tyson later said that without D'Amato he would have ended up dead or in prison forever. After his mother Lorna died from cancer in 1982, Tyson was 16. D'Amato became his legal guardian. Tyson moved to upstate New York full-time. He left school. He trained every day without stopping. What followed was one of the fastest rises in sports history. On November 22, 1986, at just 20 years and 4 months old, Mike Tyson knocked out WBC champion Trevor Berbick in round 2 and became the youngest heavyweight champion ever. By August 1987, he held the WBC, WBA, and IBF titles at the same time. He was undisputed at only 21 years old. The boy from Brownsville who had nothing became the most feared fighter on earth. But D'Amato had died in November 1985, just before Tyson got his first title fight. With him gone, the only person who had truly controlled Tyson was no longer there. What came next was not just boxing. It was fame, chaos, and a steep fall. The version of Mike Tyson the world admired in the late 1980s was both exciting and terrifying. He stood 5'10" and weighed under 220 pounds. He fought men much heavier than him and knocked most of them out in under 3 rounds. Pay-per-view records broke everywhere. The money poured in fast.
Some of those press conferences a long time ago, what I'm saying, these guys, I would never talk to anybody.
Tyson himself, when looking back in conversation with Joe Rogan, was far less celebratory about who that man had been.
People loved that guy.
Yeah.
You know, people loved that. I didn't like that guy that much. So I have my conflicting with people that like that guy and me living my life that I am living now.
The man the world applauded was not someone Tyson felt proud of or comfortable with when he looked back at him.
I'm a human being. I've abused women. Women abused me. It was like a twin blade. We both abused each other, you know? And that's just basically what it was.
The fractures began appearing nearly instantly after the championships arrived in February 1988. At 21 years old, an undisputed champion Tyson wed actress Robin Given after an 11-month courtship. The union failed within a year. In September 1988, Given Music sat next to Tyson on ABC's 2020 with Barbara Walters, and with Tyson sitting quietly beside her, called the marriage torture music, pure hell, stating she had become scared of him. Tyson initially denied the extent of the abuse. He later admitted in Undisputed Truth and in a 29 Oprah appearance that he had struck her. When asked directly about his treatment of women in a 2014 interview, he didn't reach for excuses.
That's why I'm so feared. That's why they feared me when I was in the ring, because I was an annihilator. That's all I was born for.
The marriage ended in 1989. The legal and financial consequences stretched on for years. Music. Then came Indianapolis on July 19, 1991. Tyson met 18-year-old Desiree Music Washington, a Miss Black America pageant contestant, at a rehearsal event. He invited her to his hotel suite around 2 a.m. She accused him of rape. He said it was consensual. She went to police shortly after. On February 10, 1992. Music. He was found guilty of rape and criminal deviate conduct. He received a 10-year sentence, with 6 years to serve, and ultimately spent 3 years at Indiana Youth Center before his 1995 parole release. He was 25 years old. He had once been undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, and Music now sat inside a prison cell. He embraced Islam. He read and reflected deeply. He came out in 1995 with a clenched jaw and a broken career and started rebuilding himself, immediately fighting again. Music. By 1996, yet a violent anger inside him had nowhere safe to go. It exploded in its strangest form. On June 28, 1997, at MGM Grand in Las Vegas, the WBA heavyweight rematch between Tyson and Evander Holyfield, who had defeated Tyson by TKO in their first fight in 1996, became one of the most notorious nights in boxing history. In round 3, after repeated headbutts and clinches, Tyson bit off part of Holyfield's right ear, spat it onto the canvas, then bit his left ear. Referee Mills Lane stopped the fight and disqualified him. The Nevada Athletic Commission stripped his license and fined him $3 million. The arena turned into chaos. Tyson was removed from the ring. A fight erupted in the crowd. The most feared man in heavyweight boxing, the boy from Brownsville, who had fought his way to the top of the sport, had been banned in one of the most shocking moments in sports history. Tyson blamed headbutts. Holyfield denied foul play. What no one disputed was the image Iron Mike bent over an older, smaller man biting him like an animal. The music bite fight did not end Tyson's career. He returned in 1998, but it ended something deeper. It confirmed for many people the narrative they had built about him, that beneath the trophies and the paychecks there existed something that could not be controlled, shaping how the world remembered Tyson for many years afterwards. Still today,
and now those days are gone. It's empty. I'm nothing.
The emptiness that followed his ring dominance. That vacuum left when the one identity he had ever truly owned was stripped away was the thing Mike Tyson could never quite survive. Not in 1997. Not in 2003. And not decades later at 59. $400 million and a bankruptcy filing. By August 2003, Mike Tyson filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, listing more than $23 million in debt. Despite earning an estimated $400 million across his career from fights, endorsements, and appearances between 1985 and 2005. $400 million gone. The list of purchases read like a way of making it all disappear quickly. Multiple mansions, more than 50 luxury cars, Bentleys, Ferraris, gold bathtubs, private jets, a personal entourage that numbered in the dozens and cost a fortune to maintain, and 2 or 3 Bengal tigers which cost tens of thousands of dollars each month in care alone. His 1989 separation from Robin Givens carried settlements and legal fees. His 2003 divorce from Monica Turner, his second wife, with whom he had 2 children, added more. Lawsuits piled on from every direction, and then there was Don King. In 1998, Tyson filed a $100 million lawsuit against his longtime promoter, alleging King had defrauded him, skimming from purses, hiding fees, and underpaying him across years of some of the most lucrative bouts in boxing history. The lawsuit was eventually settled. King denied any wrongdoing, but the money Tyson believed had been stolen was gone regardless of what a settlement said. Taxes finished what the excess had started. In the abusive relationships interview from the transcripts, Tyson reflected with no glamour and no performance on what was left.
That big life that we're talking about and we reminisce about, that's never going to appear again. I'm never going to be no billionaire, multi-hundred millionaire type guy again. I'm just always have to live this kind of life. I'm always going to be taking care of my children. I'm going to be paying my monthly note, my yearly bills, and there's nothing glamorous that's going to happen anymore.
The bankruptcy was not only financial. It marked the moment that made clear what had been quietly true for years. The empire built on his fists had no real base beneath it. No financial education came from his childhood poverty. No trusted advisors with real loyalty were present. No system existed to protect what he had earned. When Cus D'Amato died in 1985, Tyson lost more than a trainer. He lost the only adult in his professional world with true authority over him. What replaced D'Amato's structure was an entourage economy. People whose income depended on Tyson spending instead of saving. A 1999 road rage incident resulted in a year in jail. A 2006 arrest for DUI and cocaine possession followed. A 2007 hold added to the pattern. Each moment was a flash of old chaos breaking through the surface. He admitted he was a full-blown addict. Cocaine use dated back to age 11. Alcohol and marijuana followed him for years. Substance abuse ran beneath everything. It powered excess violence and inability to remain still.
No, I did some cocaine for a week. I had to get high. I had to get high. I couldn't handle it. Oh.
That quote came from a conversation about something far heavier than bankruptcy. But the pattern it described stayed the same. When life became too music, much to face, Tyson always returned to one response. The same response he had since Brownsville. He found a way to survive pain and dealt with questions later. By 2003, the money was gone. The titles were ancient history. The era of dominance was a decade behind him. What remained was a man in his late 30s, broke and carrying demons that were never fully addressed. A sport that still had some use for his name, even when his body was no longer the same. He kept fighting not because he loved it. He later admitted money was the main reason he continued fighting after he should have stopped. After bankruptcy, something slowly began to change. He appeared in films. His role in The Hangover in 2009 became a cultural reset. It showed a different side of him and reminded people there was charm under the chaos. He launched a podcast, Hotboxing with Mike Tyson Music, that revealed a reflective and searching voice that his ring persona had hidden. He started a cannabis company, Tyson Ranch, and later Karma Holdco, and stepped into the role of CEO. He became sober from hard drugs around 2009, but the financial damage meant he was never fully free. Years of fighting past his prime and accepting exhibition bouts and comeback fights were never only about love for boxing. They were about keeping the numbers alive. The death of Exodus. On May 24, 2009 in Phoenix, Arizona, 4-year-old Exodus Tyson Mike daughter with his partner Sol Zoc was found unresponsive in the family home. She had been playing near a treadmill. A power cord loop hanging from the console wrapped around her neck. Her 7-year-old brother found her. Her mother performed CPR and called emergency services. Paramedics continued efforts on the way to the hospital. Exodus was placed on life support. She was pronounced dead on May 26 from strangulation and asphyxia. Police ruled it a tragic accident with no foul play and no charges. Tyson was in Los Angeles when it happened. He rushed to Phoenix. In music, later interview footage, he breaks down mid-conversation, asks for the microphone to be removed, and struggles to continue. The weight of that day on him is clear.
This is my best thinking at the time. Get my gun, automatic, just like this, and you just go crazy.
This became his first response. The same response that was built inside him at 9 years old in Brownsville there. When pain becomes unbearable, the only available response has always, music, been violence. Even when the thing being destroyed would be himself.
So, who the hell am I? They get a dying too. No, I did some cocaine for a week. I had to get high. I had to back then. I had to get high. I couldn't handle it at all. I'm working on being the art of humbleness. Can you believe in me? That's the reason why I'm crying, because I'm not that person no more. And I miss them. Because sometimes I feel like because I don't want that person to come out, because if he comes out, hell is coming with him.
Hey, you guys, boxing's for when you have nothing.
Yeah.
When you do boxing, when you just had nothing, because that's a lot of
time.
Mm-hmm.
All I did was my whole life was telling me that when I die, all I'm gonna do is apologize. I felt all the pain I ever caused somebody, all the pain I ever caused people in my journey in this world. I was so happy that I woke up.
The hospital corridor stopped him. The sight of other parents and strangers sitting with the same unbearable loss broke something music open in him that the rage could not fill. He has described the death of Exodus as the lowest point of his life, even deeper than his rape conviction, deeper than bankruptcy, and deeper than losing his titles. He spoke about holding her, and the guilt he felt over being away because of training schedules and travel, and said it completely broke him. The tragedy of Mike Tyson at 59 is not that he is broken. It is that he is still here. Still standing. Still fighting. Still carrying the full weight of a Brownsville childhood. A stolen fortune. A dead daughter. A ruined body. And a world that still demands the version of him that he has spent 15 years trying to move away from. The pigeon is gone. The fighter is still here.